Good evening, everyone. Earthy Wise Woman here. And before we get started, I'm going to please ask you guys to subscribe to my channel. Um, Please let me know a comment. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Thumbs up, thumbs down, whichever. Anyway, now that I've said all that, I want to talk today about some herbs. I have asked you guys to give me some ideas of what you wanted to learn about, and you guys have come up with some great ideas. And I'm going to do one now, and I'm going to do another one in a few more days. And I just want that person who asked me about black sunflower seeds to know, yes, I do intend to do the video on black sunflower seeds. I'm still doing more research on it. Even though I do have it, I don't think it's fair to just give you like a paragraph and say, okay, that's it. I want to be a little bit more thorough than that. So for that person who asked me for black sunflower seeds, yes, that video will be made. Tonight, though, we are talking about something that is pretty typical, and people kind of like, oh, yeah, I know about that. Okay. But it's not that typical, and you may not know everything about it. And we are speaking tonight about peppermint. That is my bad writing up there, but this is peppermint. Now, there are a lot of things to know about peppermint. Number one, let's go over the physical, mundane things that peppermint is good for. One of the things we know is that peppermint is good for your sinuses. As you know, a lot of people inhale peppermint to open up their sinuses and to breathe better, and it's good for congestion. So you can make it into teas, and it has been, as you know. You can use it in elixirs. Mostly we use it in teas, of course, but it can be used as elixirs. And it's also, as we all know this one too, it's good for breath freshener. Um, in the ancient times and up until and still currently, many people used to serve peppermint leaves after eating dinner to their guests in order to cleanse their breath, to cleanse their palate. As you know, we still eat breath mints and such as that, and we used peppermint for that. Now, a lot of people think that peppermint and spearmint are just like the same thing. Ain't no big deal. Peppermint, spearmint. They are two different plants in the same family. There is spearmint, there is peppermint, there's wintermint. These mints are all in the same family, but they're not the same plant. So I want to make that point very clear. Also, let me continue because that's another, I'm getting into another area. So let me go back to where I was. Also, one of the best things to use for an upset stomach is peppermint. Peppermint tea is good to settle your stomach because it gets rid of the bloating and the um, just let me see the proper word, indigestion. It's very good for subsiding indigestion. Okay, so all of that being said, I'm going to get on to the magical uses of peppermint. Peppermint is good for purification. It's good for sleep. In sleep magic to relax you and ease you in, as you know, which is why some of us also drinks drink peppermint tea because it's also good for that. Peppermint is good for healing. These are all the spiritual things, and it's good for psychic powers. Now, these are the general things that peppermint is good for. I want you to notice something though. Now, I told you the spiritual uses for peppermint, and I also told you the mundane, just basic everyday uses. Notice the correlation because I said that peppermint was good for purification. And on a mundane level, it cleanses out our nose, it cleanses our palates, it cleanses out our intestines. Purification. So not just spiritual, but physical, both. Sleep. Most of you know that if you drink a cup of peppermint tea, it relaxes you. It eases you into a good night's sleep. Spiritually, it does the same thing. We burn peppermint, we smell it, we get into a more psychic state. Okay? So that's why it enhances psychic power because it relaxes us. And in relaxing us, we turn off our mundane, everyday bills. I've got to do the laundry mind, and we get on to a much more mellow, tranquil. It keeps our third eye open and ready to receive. Okay, which is pretty good to know. So that would mean if you were to say, I, want to do more of a meditational, you can use peppermint as a form of a resin or an incense in this case, burning, you know, um, herbs on your charcoal to get you into more of a meditative state. Also, things to note about peppermint. Peppermint planetarily, for the planetary sign, is Mercury, and that's masculine. And it is of the element, which really won't surprise you, fire. Okay? I would strongly suggest that this is an herb that is not that hard to grow. And believe it or not, you can find this herb at your local nursery. You can buy it at Lowe's or Home Depot. The plant is sold. It is a year-round plant. You can grow it all year round. I would strongly suggest for anyone, if you decide to grow peppermint, um, and let's say you just have a lot of ground you want to cover, grow peppermint there. It is very prolific. It will grow everywhere. But if you're like me and you just want it in, like, you want to be able to contain it a little so it doesn't get out of hand, use a container. And what is a good container? One of the things you can just use is a 5-gallon barrel or the bucket barrel. A 5-gallon one, you can get it at a paint bucket. You can get it at Lowe's. You can get it at Home Depot. You can recycle them. You can use a container that you may have used to store, like, the square plastic containers. You can use those. Drill some holes at the bottom. Get some good quality soil and grow some peppermint. It is very prolific. It will grow all year round. A good rainstorm and it'll just grow like crazy. You can even put it on a trellis to grow, but it's usually a good bush plant, but you can train it like that. Um, and once the leaves are there, because it's the leaves you want, don't pick the leaves off. Just cut the stems back. Don't forget, okay, I'm giving you too much information at once. Let me slow down. Once the plant has matured and the leaves have grown, when you go out to trim the plant, notice I didn't say cut it. You are not going to cut it. You will trim it back before you trim the plant. Ask the plant for permission to trim it. Explain to the plant what it is you are going to do. Now, you may think I am being this hippy dippy type sounding person. Oh my God, I'm going to talk to the plants. Yes, you are. Because now I can say with some backup, and it has been proven, plants do understand and plants do appreciate to be communicated to. What would happen if you were to go out and just cut the plant outright and not ask for permission and not talk to the plant? Well, you could put the plant in shock, um, which means the plant could die. The plant would get resentful and stop growing and basically die, which again, like I said, the plant would die. So we do ask. I constantly, when I have to go out and trim any of my herbs, my onions, my my sage, my lavender, and of course my mint. I touch it, I pat it, I thank it for its growth. I tell it what I need. I ask for permission, and when I feel, and the plant kind of lets you know it, that it is okay to trim it, I trim a little bit. I don't, trim a god awful amount. I try to trim them regularly because number one, that's just good care for the plant, and you'll alleviate any dead stock off the plant. Okay. And after you've trimmed your plant, you can dry the plant. Now, there's many ways to dry a plant. You can take the plant and put it in a dehydrator. You can buy one of those, the food dehydrators. They're very good. You can get them on eBay. They're very cheap now. Or you can just dry them in the open air and allow, deity to dry the plant, which is fine. Let me continue, and I'm going to go ahead and read some of the things about peppermint. So please take note of these things about peppermint. Peppermint has been used in healing potions and mixtures. Peppermint is also has a long history of purification spells. So you can use this in a purification spells. You can add this to sage in order to increase cleansing of a home or cleansing of a space, not just your home. Peppermint is good for relieving headaches, okay? Not just mental headaches, but spiritual headaches. Um, and what you do to do that, it's you can drink it as a tea, but you would take a leaf, just a leaf, a peppermint leaf, and rub it on your forehead. Okay? The actual chemicals from the leaves can relieve your headache by numbing it and causing it just to slowly, gradually go away. Um, in old days, they would wear the peppermint leaves around the wrist to ensure that a person didn't get ill. Now, during the time of COVID, and me and my daughter, Moondon, and my grandchildren, her children, we gave them a lot of mint tea to alleviate and ward off any possible contaminants. And did it work? Well, for the most part, our home did stay pretty healthy. And when some of my grandchildren, did uh, get COVID, they were able to throw it off very quickly and without any lingering problems. So it really did purify their body, and they stayed relatively very healthy. Um, I would put fresh peppermint on your altar, and the reason why you would do that is to call good spirits and good energy into your home. You can put peppermint on your the main area of your home. In my case, that's my fireplace. My I hate when words just empty out my mouth, and they were just there. But on my hearth, in order to call in good energy and good spirits. I also leave it in my kitchen space. Some people have shelves above their stoves, and that's pretty good. Or they have shelves somewhere in the area where they cook, and I would leave just a bit of peppermint there to call in good spiritual energy when you're cooking your food. Also, since we are on cooking, you can add peppermint to some of your foods in order to, well, in a way, I guess the word would be cleanse it or to add more um, digestive properties to the food so it's easier to digest for your family. Not a lot of peppermint. Don't overwhelm them because peppermint can be overwhelming. Just a little, a taste of peppermint is very good for the digestive system. Okay. Also, peppermint can be used in spells for traveling, for a person to have a safe travel in order for them to get to their destination uneventfully. no flat tires, no automobile accidents, no blackouts, such as these things. No auto problems with their car, so it can be used for that. Um, oh, what is another good one? God, peppermint is so common. Another thing you can do is add it to things. Like peppermint can be added to an herb called pennyroyal, which I'll do a separate video on later on because they are closely related. Um, in a pinch, one can be used um, for the other, and yet I'm good. Pennyroyal has another underlining thing that I'm not going to refer to here because we're talking about peppermint, but I will refer to later. Um, Overall, I would say there are things that you can use peppermint for that you should always keep it in your pantry, in your magical pantry. Peppermint is important. Also, I forgot to mention this one because a lot of you guys are going through money problems. Peppermint can be used for money spells. Now, how does that work? Um, Take a few of the leaves of the peppermint, put it in your wallet or in your purse or wherever you keep your money, and or you can rub it where the money is kept in order to gravitate and bring more money to you. I like that one because you can smell it and it smells good. So it's used for things like that because of the crisp smell. So that's why. And if you ever saw a peppermint leaf, it's crisp like a piece of money. So this is called sympathetic magic. You can put the peppermint leaf in the wallet or your purse and just visualize money. See that? I got money. I got $20. That's those two $20 bills. Okay, that's sympathetic magic. And that's a really good form of it. So overall, if we were to say what, because a lot of people ask me, well, what herbs should a witch have or should a practitioner have at all times? I would always say peppermint is one of them. Number one, for a witch on a budget, or a practitioner rather, on a budget, peppermint is very simple to attain. You can grow it yourself once you buy the plant, put it in a container, put it in the ground. Remember when I said it's very prolific, so be careful with that one. And it will grow. It will grow. You can always go out there, trim some back. Remember to ask the plant for permission before you do that, and you will always have it. So it's a plant that keeps on giving. You can not only just grow the peppermint, you can grow spearmint, other mints, and please do not confuse your mints because just because certain mints have just because the word mints on the end doesn't mean they have the exact same attributes because they don't. Let me really quick tell you why I say that. Right now in my personal garden, I'm growing some spearmint. Now, on a mundane level, I like spearmint because of the mildness. It's a much milder mint than peppermint. But I am going to be growing peppermint. I started a plant, but it's not outside, it's inside right now. The one thing different between spearmint and peppermint, which is why I don't want you to get them confused. Remember what I said. Peppermint is planetarily Mars. I'm not, I said Mars. Mercury. Mercury. The element is fire. This is a masculine herb. Masculine. Peppermint. But let's say, like right now, I told you I was growing spearmint in my outdoor garden. Spearmint is planetarily Venus, which is feminine, okay? And it is of the element of water. So you cannot use peppermint and spearmint and think it's the same. It is not the same. In the same family as far as the mint family, Magically, it's not the same. So don't confuse them. But spearmint, what is a good one? Also, though, it is good for still the up. Now, on a mundane level, spearmint and peppermint can be used for the same. Spearmint is good for lung disease. Spearmint can be used for hmm, well, okay. Magically, spearmint is good for the it provokes lust. Okay, it's much more for the lust, which is why Venus and water. Also, it's good for protection while sleeping. Now, this is spearmint, protection while sleeping. My grandmother did this when she would stuff it in satchels, stuff it in pillows. To Number one, it would promote good sleeping and protect a person while they are sleeping. It's good for protection. And in a state like that, you really do want it. But it is similar attributes. It's for healing, love, and mental powers. But I want you to remember, we're looking at the feminine aspects in spearmint, whereas in peppermint, the masculine aspects of those same things. So, saying that, I could tell you this. If you were to make, say, a satchel for you and your mate, if you guys are male and female, I would suggest that you would mix the peppermint, the spearmint together because they have similar attributes, but one is masculine, one is feminine. That is a significant difference. But if you were to mix them together, that would bring forth a harmony that is really beautiful. So, if you were to say, give this to a couple who were about to have a hand fasting ceremony, that would be a really good to put in a satchel for them as a couple. It would be great. Or you as a couple can put it together in your marital or your partner bed so that you two can have the aspects of both male and female in lust, in love, in healing, and in psychic powers, both masculine and feminine. Now, if you were to make a satchel with both the male and the female, the aspects, it would actually make you both make you as a practitioner way more well-rounded because to have both attributes means because we have both male and female in us. We do. We both. So to have both aspects in a satchel for love and healing, that would just add much more boom to it. Okay? So, again, I would strongly suggest you have that in your magical pantry as well as your mundane pantry. Now, is there anything else I can say about peppermint other than the fact it smells very good? I can also suggest to you that it has my grandmother did it and a few other people. A little bit in a baby's bottle has been known, not too much, please, because this is still mint and can be a little strong for a child. But it does relieve a little bit of colic because it lowers the bubbling in their little baby tummies. So a little bit for the colic is not bad. It's a good idea. Also, it also calms the nerves of children, which is one of the reasons I want you to think back when you were a child. Our grandmothers would always carry mint candy, and when you were acting up, they would just slip you a mint and it would calm you down. Okay. Mint has always been a part of us. When after we eat dinner, what do we eat? An after dinner mint to clean the palate, tastes good, it calms the stomach, and so you can go on and maybe have a cup of coffee afterwards. So as you can see in our mundane and our magical, peppermint is very important. And it's always been a part of societies, all the way even far reaching to the Romans. So this has been thousands of years. This herb has been with us. So let it be with you as well. And on that note, I am rambling. and Earthy Wise Woman knows I'm rambling. But I do want to do a little bit. To get more insight on herbs, I would strongly suggest, as I have done this with many of my videos, go ahead and invest in this particular book by Scott Cunningham, which is the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. It's not just magical, it's also mundane. Remember, the herbs that we eat in our mundane life will also help us in our magical, and vice versa. And on that note, now I will say good night, and I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe day. Blessed be.